Episode 32 of Mind Over Matter. We got Zack on, Isaac. What a great episode. Covered quite a bit in here. Very, very excited with how this episode came out. Zack's one of a kind, man. He went through quite a bit of adversity, went through quite a bit of a grieving stage, just like me. Little different situations, and ended up kind of in the same spot. He's doing sales, running his own agency up in the mountains over in Lake Tahoe, and just had a really great outlook on life. So it was a great episode. Love talking to him. What'd you think, Kev?
He had a very a mature outlook on life, especially death. We've talked about death before, but never like the grieving process. And the way Zach processed everything, it was so unique, and I it resonated a lot with me. So we're gonna get into that. Some hard stuff to talk about, but it's really cool. And it's a really interesting way to kind of see how another person's mindset works. So that being said, let's get into it.
Let's get into it. And Zach, like I said during the show, man, I'm proud of you. Proud of who you are. Proud of who you become, man. So would your dad be. So let's keep it going and let's get into the episode. Y'all enjoy. All right, everybody, welcome on back to the Mind Over Matter podcast. It's got episode 32. Brought on Red, Zach, Isaac, whatever. He's here.
All of
Ready
Any
to
of them.
talk, man. Ready to talk. We had a good little conversation before we started, but to start it off, how we feeling today, fellas? Zach, how you feeling over there?
And I'm feeling great. It's been been a pretty long week. Got a lot of snow. Had to hop up on the roof, shovel some snow off this morning, but feeling pretty good. Ready to talk about some shit. Ready to get into it.
Yeah. Kev?
Nah, bro, I'm pumped. This is our third guest from the Irrational Optimist group. Shout out to them. Uh, it's crazy how many dope people there are in there. I'm like thinking, is there any turds that, are in this group? But no, super impressed with the quality of people on there, and I'm pumped to have you on, Red. And I'll kick it back to Trevor. Let's get this pot.
If there's any turds in there, hey, we'll find them for you, Jake. No worries. So.
Yeah, bro.
We'll weed them out.
Yeah.
Turd collectors, bro.
No, man. You want to just go in a little bit, Red, on your past, like where you're at now, who you are, where you're from, where you at?
Man, right now I'm living up in Lake Tahoe, California, right on the border, California and Nevada. Um, I grew up in the Bay Area, like outside San Francisco, lived there until I was 18, went away to college up in Northern California. When I was at school, kind of was not really having the greatest time at school. Like I really just couldn't honestly, I couldn't even bring myself to go to most of my classes. It was just I felt like it was, I don't want to say beneath me, but it was just boring as hell for me. It just wasn't entertaining, wasn't interesting whatsoever. So ended up starting up my own marketing agency when I was 19, and then that started to do decently well. Picked up and moved down to transferred schools to an online San Diego State online program. Moved down to Southern California in Orange County with my girlfriend at the time. Lived there for about 2 years. Then I picked up and moved to Denver, Colorado, just to wanted to kind of experience the country, I guess.
Yeah, that's my
I'd always
hometown,
been.
right quick. 303.
Oh, that's
bro.
awesome, dude. I love Denver.
Shout out to Denver, bro.
But yeah, so I went from Southern California to Denver, and then spent a year in Denver. Was all right, there's more, there's more to the United States. Moved down to Orlando, Florida I was there for about 8 months, and then some shit went down. My girlfriend and I ended up breaking up, and I ended up moving up here to Tahoe just to kind of I guess get away from it all for a couple months. And then coming up next month, end of April, early May, going back down to Florida. I'm thinking I'm gonna land in Tampa actually, so I'll be close to you guys.
Hey.
Yeah.
Dude, I've heard some great things about Tampa, so yeah, I'm excited. But yeah, man, that's just kind of a brief rundown on me. I guess when I was down in Southern California, kind of got into crypto through after the marketing agency, caught the bull run at the absolute perfect time. So that was and that was awesome. And then, yeah, things have just kind of, I guess, progressed from there. Like now I'm in sales. So I've got a couple sales gigs, and then I've got my agency that I'm running as well. So yeah, that's I guess that's a little bit about me.
So your whole school life growing up was in California?
Yeah. Yeah,
You seem
basically, yeah, I
yeah,
guess like literally, yeah, like elementary school all the way through college was California schools.
and how come you don't have like pink hair and are wearing a dress?
Bro, I can man, I can kind of chalk that up to my dad. Like growing up with my dad, he was my parents were, or I guess my dad passed last year, actually coming up like it will have been a year since he passed in like 2 weeks. So like last day of March, either March 31st or April 1st. Honestly, I'm not 100% sure. But yeah, so that was like obviously that was like a big happening in my life over the past year. But growing up with my dad, my parents had me much older. So my dad was 46 when he had me, and my mom
Whoa.
was 38. So yeah, they were older. And so like my dad he grew up, his father, so my grandfather on my dad's side was a pilot in the Canadian RAF. So he flew bombers in World War II, and then after World War II, came back, moved to like Washington, like the state of Washington, and was one of the head engineers for Boeing. And basically he was doing all that, like working on planes, kind of, I guess lead engineer stuff. And then
Whatever they do, yeah.
yeah, whatever they do. He ended up buying like an apple orchard. So my dad grew up on a farm, basically up in Washington, where, much more like traditional style of, growing up, I guess. And then him being my dad, he kind of instilled those values in me. So although like pink hair shit, all that stuff was never even really like on my radar. But I will say, like, there's a lot, you run into that stuff a lot, like going to school in California. Like, and I remember my first exposure to that was I was in like 6th grade. I was like 11 years old. And this dude that was in one of my like I don't know, like one of my elective, like a choir class or something like that.
Yo.
He was like, well, no, so like he was, this kid like played lacrosse, like, normal, like a normal kid, like a normal 11-year-old dude. And then like the next year, the kid was just gone, like disappeared, like dropped off the face of the earth. And I was like, we weren't like super tight, but like I knew him. And, comes back to school and I'm kind of like, what the hell happened to this guy? Turns out like I guess he still went to the same school, still did all the same shit, but he was now a she. And I was like didn't recognize him, like had absolutely no idea. It was just like out of nowhere. But like no, definitely not.
Yo, wait,
Yeah.
actually, how old are you, real quick?
23.
Oh, okay, yeah.
At 11 years old, that is fucking incredible, dude.
Yeah, like 11, 12, like it was fucking,
that ain't that
it was
ain't
weird.
far off of how I grew up. Not how I grew up, of when I grew up. So like same timing, except I was in the south suburbs of Chicago, so
A little different.
a little
Yeah.
different.
I'm trying to think, like, even in Colorado, I mean, I graduated in 2014, but the only thing I heard about that kind of like, not woke, but that how they are in California was like, used to say that's so gay a lot. And then someone was like, you shouldn't say that because it's offensive to gay people. And I'm like, I don't give a fuck, dude.
Yeah,
I still say it now, but that was about it. And like, it's fascinating to hear like the stories about how like worse it's gotten now from younger people.
Well,
dude.
yeah, I mean,
There's
that's
sorry,
not
go ahead.
even- That's not even like younger, Kev. That's like my age. That's what I'm saying. Like that's not even like. that
Yeah,
young,
like
bro.
it ain't like 50 years past. It's
Yeah.
like a year and a half
Yeah.
past, dude.
Like, what the
Yeah,
hell?
like I graduated high school in 2018, so yeah, only 4 years later.
Yeah,
Like,
holy shit.
but yeah, dude, like I will say, growing up in California, it's definitely different. Like high school, you're more like exposed to that stuff. Like it's kind of right in front of your face. Like, man, I had a teacher in high school. I'm not gonna drop any names or anything, but like, bro, she was like she thought she was like super smart. Like she had her like Stanford, like,
Yeah.
bachelor, like history degree, like whatever up behind her desk and stuff like that. And like, you know, she was a history teacher, like a US history teacher. And bro, I was in her class when Trump got elected.
Oh
And
God.
dude, the day he got, like November 11th, whatever election day was, like when they come out with the final poll
Yeah.
results. Sure, she literally came into class, or we all, like all the students came into class, and she's like sitting at her desk, and she like stands up, like wiping tears from her eyes, and she's like, "You know what, guys? I just can't teach today. Like this is the worst day I've ever experienced in my life.
Oh
Like
my
I
God.
can't believe our country is like going down this like dark path.
Oh my
Like
God.
this is absolutely like this is unbelievable. Like." And then we like watched like basically a like for me at that point, I took it as basically like a propaganda video, like against Trump, like just talking about all these bad things that he did, all these
Yo.
bad people who he like associated with. Yeah, dude, it was like that's kind of what like that's basically how we were like taught in high school, which is like it's just not true like at all. And I only like I say, and I bring up my whole dad and like him being older and stuff, my grandfather flying in World War II, because I like they taught me about history. So like going into high school and all of this stuff, I knew history. Like I knew it, I guess, as it was taught in a prior like generation. And so I would hear all of this shit and be like, what the fuck is this? Like this is literally like this is like made up like like what are you talking about basically?
My bad, everybody. I wasn't recording my voice. My cat clicked the mute button. Anyways, but yeah, so I know like the history. I'm talking about history. I know the history so that I could tell my kid what actually happened right now in my time because I know how hard it is to find information of the past history. It is so hard to find information or the right information to actually be able to talk about it.
You don't even know the right information. Like, my dad's a history professor, full disclosure, and he would tell me all these like fun facts about what I was learning, and it's like I realized there are no real good guys in history at all. It's like it's written by the victors. It's like how much of this shit is not true or partially true.
Yeah.
You
Yeah,
know,
yeah, it's
it's
only written by the people who already won.
I
yeah,
know it's
especially
all
growing up in Colorado. Yeah, they only talk about like World War II and like slavery. That was the big like. If you only like went to school, that would be the only two historical events you ever knew.
No, same thing in California. And like you bring up a very good point. Like history in particular, it's all about like the perspective because you only have one perspective on what actually happened. Like in we'll call it most cases, but like it would be super interesting if there was like I guess both perspectives or like both sides of the story kind of like
Yeah.
taught in all of these different ways. I'm sure like how the story is told and how it all kind of I guess is taught today would just be completely different if you actually had multiple perspectives on stuff,
Yeah.
not just like the US perspective on the Revolutionary War or World War II, like any of that
You can
stuff.
even go further. I, I couldn't see a Spartan from Rome at the end of the war just going up to them, shaking their hand, and be like, "Hey, do you mind leaving out this part or some shit?" You know, like, "Hey, do you
Yeah,
mind
yeah.
including that we were actually pretty cool?"
Yeah.
Like
No,
after the
exactly.
war, shake my hand, bro.
Yeah, like especially as you go further back in history, it's like how can we possibly know every little detail about everything? It's like there's no way. It's like our inferencing, like or our assumptions just increase so high the further back we go.
Yeah.
It's like I don't know how accurate that really is.
That's
Like
dude.
grain of salt.
That's why I'm gonna write a book.
Yeah.
I'm telling you, I'm gonna write a book. Someone brought it up. I talked about it a while ago. Just I brought it up to you, Kev, like probably like 6 months ago. How I just wanted to, thought it'd be cool to write a book. And then I hopped on a call yesterday with a podcast dude, and he was like, "You should be writing a book already." I was like, "Oh my god, finally someone who agrees. I should be writing a book." Just cause, yeah, just putting my words on paper for everyone to see, especially like for my kid. Here's my book that I spent the time to write about, did the research on all these topics, whatever it is. Here's my book. You could learn from this type shit.
Yeah, because you can capture the vibe. Like, I'm really fascinated by vibes in history. Like, we had a show with my uncle on, because he was a cop during 9/11. And, like, I obviously knew what happened, but I'm like, what was the energy like with the people there? Was it, like, anger? You know, like, what was it like? It's like, you could really talk about that in your story, Trev. Like, this is how you actually kind of felt.
Yeah, yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
I like
yeah.
that. Yeah, like actually capturing the feeling of that time in history,
Yeah.
which is like,
Oh, dude.
it's like in history books, school, whatever it is, like you're not actually getting that. You're getting some like, you know, I don't know, like retrospective view
Yeah, like
on
this
things
big.
that happened in the past. But if
Yeah.
you could get like the in the moment like updates and stuff like that, that's why I think Twitter is so cool. Honestly, is because it's like constant, constant updates. It's like live action stuff that's going on, how people are feeling at the moment. You can just it's all documented. You can just go back and look at any given time in history, or I guess since Twitter's been created, which is not that long. But like that's why I think Twitter is such a cool such a cool app.
Yeah, I
Makes
never even realized that Kevin got me on it. I never used Twitter before, like probably like 6 months ago. Never used Twitter before. And Kevin's like, dude, if you just hop on, go to my account and follow everyone I follow, you'll be in the right little space on Twitter, money Twitter, and you could just that's it. And sure enough,
Well,
hopped on Twitter and now we're here.
yeah, like before I'd mostly go on Reddit to get like that was like my news hub, I guess. And realized like these are all articles written by people. Like that's anytime that happens, there's gonna be room for interpretation. So like then I found Twitter and I'm like, okay, this is like where you're actually getting the quickest info.
Yeah.
And like you can talk to everyone. Like if we were in ancient Rome, there's no chance Trevor would even see the king, let alone
Yeah, bro,
interact with him.
talking to dude in Belarus? Like,
Yeah.
no
No, you
way.
can connect with anybody. Yeah, Twitter like completely changed like the trajectory of my life, which is kind of a funny thing, but like yeah, getting on Twitter back in like 2018, just like on a crypto account, whatever it was. I found people like that's how I got the idea to even start up like a
Yeah.
marketing agency or invest in crypto, any of that stuff.
That's fun. Yeah, you got those jobs that like you only hear about on Twitter. Like
Exactly, yeah.
I didn't know what
I can't
copywriting was.
like imagine Trevor's dad is like 55 come up and say, "Oh yeah, I've got a new job doing lead gen for DTC drop shipping brands." Like
Yeah. No, exactly. And that was kind of the thing was I always knew that like college wasn't going to be, or I guess, college is one thing, but like the 9 to 5, like traditional, basically just becoming like a cog in the machine, that whole route. I knew ever since I was like little that wasn't for me. Like I just couldn't get behind it. And then, yeah, finding Twitter, seeing all these guys, talking about, man, I just made, $30,000, $40,000 a month from like 6 clients with running Facebook ads for whatever it is, e-commerce
Yeah,
brands for
sitting at
like
home.
doctors, dentists. Yeah, like sitting in my sitting in my pajamas or whatever it is.
Yeah.
And so that just kind of got me started, which is like I owe a lot of where I'm at now to just kind of getting on Twitter and following the right people at the right time.
Do you think there's like a physical equivalent to Twitter? Like, do you think there's, because that's kind of what me and Kevin are trying to do with our School of Solace, is like a physical equivalent. Like, it's not even physical. Like I don't even know how to say it. Like, you don't run into people like the people on Twitter. It's so small how many people are in that space on Twitter. You don't run into them, and you almost would never find out about the shit unless you go on like Iman Ghazi's account. Like, and then
Yeah.
then you get the bullshit like customer based YouTube videos.
Yeah, honestly, I don't think there's anything physical, like anything in real life that is similar to Twitter. I would say the most, um, I would say the most similar thing that kind of even comes to mind would be like a college campus. But the college campus is going to have completely different like styles of thinking, completely different ideas than you're going to find on Money Twitter. The only things I can think of is like there's a couple guys like Andre Heichel and I hope I'm saying his name right, and like Cold Email Wizard, and they have the Client Ascension, which is their basically coaching
Yeah.
Oh
program,
yeah, we
and
got pitched that. Yeah,
they have meetups in Tampa, like kind of. I think they do them all over in Florida, like Tampa, Miami, Orlando, probably. But that would be the only real life situation I can think of where you're going to run into anybody who is like of the same caliber in terms of just like their high level like business thinking.
Is
yeah. You
Andre
know what?
the
I'm
Closify guy? Closify? Is that the same Andre?
No, that's Alex. Alex is the
Okay,
Closify guy.
okay. Well, not anymore. Just sold that
Yeah,
shit to
not
homie.
anymore.
Yeah, yeah, that's
Yeah,
pretty
I
cool.
kind of think of it as like us and like money Twitter. We're similar destinations. Like they're more about money and chicks. We're about like money and freedom and family. But like we're both doing similar enough things. It's just what we're doing is taking the funnel that is super narrow for money Twitter and kind of making it bigger to where more people can get it.
Well, and
But
like
yeah, go ahead.
that's No, like that's awesome. That's why what I think you guys are doing is so cool is because it's not just like there's almost not like I guess prerequisites in order to be like in order to kind of grow yourself to be somewhat, big and like like I guess to have influence on like money Twitter, you have to be able to, show receipts of making X per month, like,
Yeah,
oh yeah, I drive a Lambo, like I'm able to, afford this super cool high-rise apartment in Miami or LA, wherever it is. But like, I feel like what you guys are doing is, like you said, kind of opening that funnel and giving a more like wide entry path, if that makes sense.
yeah, man. Cause like that shit's intimidating. Like when I was hopping on
Yeah.
Money Twitter and it's like dudes going
Mhm.
out with their girls saying I shouldn't have a girlfriend until I'm 30. I'm sitting next to my girlfriend like what the fuck? I thought she was pretty cool, bro. Like what the fuck?
Yeah, I liked her. What the heck?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like it's
Well, yeah.
Yeah.
yeah, that's what like we were saying, like they need more classic cars. That's another
Yeah,
thing. Like there's
exactly.
me and Kevin are we got our own little niche. We're more mechanical people. That's just through our, from 18 to fucking 23, 25 we learned about mechanics. That was our thing. We learned mechanics. There's not many people on Money Twitter that started like that. Like most of them are like dudes didn't know what to do, did not going to college, just like you, and end up on Money Twitter. And like it's just a different. I don't want to say like personality. It's like Kevin said. It's just a different end goal. I guess
It's
we're in different
just different.
stages. Yeah,
We're
it's
we're
just
not
different.
competing, you
Yeah,
know? Like if I was an 18-year-old kid looking at both of these, I would probably go for money Twitter first because I want to, get a lot of chicks, make a lot of money. And then when that gets old, like join School of Solace and kind of make that more of a family-centric mission. So it's not like they're competing with each other or we are with them. It's like there's room enough for all of us.
yeah,
We just want to help get people into that space a little bit easier.
Absolutely. And like I see I guess I've noticed like kind of on money Twitter through IO, like people are I guess, a lot of the big guys are kind of shifting more towards that like long-term family dynamic as their goal. Cause like all the girls and like all of that shit, it gets old like
yeah.
really quick. And then
Really
you kind
quick.
of realize like, you make the money, you're able to go out to the club and whatever, hook up with chicks, you drive cool fast car, but then you kind of get to this point where like you're not actually satisfied with those things.
Yeah,
And what's next? It's like, okay, yeah, I actually want to start a family. Like I want to find one high quality, like good girl that I enjoy spending time with, settle down, have kids, and kind of move on to that next chapter of life.
yeah. That's why it's kind of cool, like the stuff me and Kevin got going on. Cause yeah, Kevin's been married since he was 18. Like homie's been married. Like,
Yeah.
that's a part that we could help people out in. I've gone through my fair share of bullshit with females. Most people, like you're saying, it's just hop on Money Twitter, make your money, go have fun, do your thing, and then you end up, like you said, what the fuck happens next? And now you don't really. I mean, you got the money and shit. That's cool. You're a top 1% man, but you don't have the woman. So, I mean, men need women, women need men.
Like you're not building anything. You know what I'm saying? Like you fuck a chick and then that's it.
Yeah.
It's like
And
you're
then
not
exactly.
building anything with that.
And it's like, are you really like that top 1% man if you don't have like a solid relationship and like
Yeah.
you're not kind of taking those, like there's different categories of life and that's a huge one. And like, Kevin, like I have a lot of respect. Like you've been married since you were 18. Like I had a girlfriend from when I was like 17 until, like 23, like 6 months ago about. And like that was my goal with that was like ultimately I wanted to get married, like have kids, all of that. So, I have a lot of respect for, I guess, getting married young and kind of starting that foundation at an early age because, really once you get the money, once you get all of that stuff, like the only thing that's left is to, go have a family, like do things that genuinely make you happy, not things that just bring you like material happiness.
Yeah.
Is that, you know what I mean?
Yeah, my biggest thing was like I don't want to I want a girl to see me when I'm like fucking hurting, bro. Like my girlfriend, I ran into her, I was barely moving out my bed, and this is one thing Money Twitter talks about, like you need to be this big strong man. Well, I ran into my girlfriend and she healed me to where I am now. To me that says a fucking lot about a woman, and for a man who's already got the money, already got the cars, already got the house, I don't know if you're going to find someone willing to do that when you break down and you who knows what happens. You don't have the money. Some bullshit happens because I've been there where some bullshit happens.
She's gonna divorce your ass and take half that money, bro.
Yeah.
Like,
Exactly. Yeah.
some guys take that shit so far on Twitter too, like the non-monogamous people. Like,
Yeah.
I should be able to have like 10 girlfriends at once. It's like, oh, I don't know, bro. Like, the average person's not reading that and thinking like, right, right on.
Yeah, the guys who are, saying, I should have 4 girlfriends all the time and they should all respect each other and like, want me to go be, respect me and want me to go be with these other 3 girls that I'm also dating. It's like, dude, that's just not like, maybe with like super like low quality, like low self-esteem women, but not with like somebody who's worth kind of building a life with and like having kids with.
But even they don't want you to go fuck other chicks. Like, they'll tolerate it.
Right.
Yeah, you got money in a car, of course. Yeah, of course they're gonna tolerate that shit.
Well, and nobody especially like I guess the women that I've known are all very like, for the most part, it seems like they're just innately like possessive. Like they don't want you to go be, or innately jealous. Like they don't want you to go be with somebody else. And like I can see how in certain perspectives that I see on Twitter, I can see how like using that jealousy or using that like innate possessiveness can allow you to go have multiple girlfriends. But like at the same time, like I was saying, you're never going to be able to build something long term. Yeah. Like even if you wanted to go say, you know what, I pick you. Like I pick one out of my 4 girlfriends. Like how is that person ever going to actually trust you long term to like start a family or do any of those things that are, I guess, important? Like once you get past the, I call it like the like early 20s stage in life. Because once you kind of get past that, and some people go through it earlier, some people go through it later, but for me, I think of it as the early 20s stage. Once you get past that, like as a man, like you want kids, you want a family. That's kind of the like natural calling. You can't do that with like 4 girlfriends.
Yeah,
it just doesn't work.
Girls want
Who
that
has
same
the
shit
energy,
too.
bro?
Yeah, the energy, yeah. But girls want that shit too. They do their fair share of partying, do their fair share of whatever. They want to settle down. And if they didn't do the partying, it's because they've been wanting to settle down.
Yeah.
Like
yeah,
my sister
exactly.
never did the partying, never did anything crazy in college, nothing stupid. She's been waiting for the right guy to come along and settle down, and she found him. Like that's
great guy, bro.
Yeah, couldn't make a better dude in the lab. Like
that's great, dude. That's awesome.
That's the tragic part, though. It's like you hear like women saying that it's a sign of strength to go out and sleep with a bunch of guys, and it's like, us men, like some might put up with it, but like that is an issue for us, and they don't like it, but like that's not going to change.
Like,
we have an issue, bro.
When did all of that start being like normal? Like being, younger, like 23, like I kind of grew up in like, high school, whatever it was, like it was always normalized for like, this like strong woman, like type thing. And like, that's great. Like, yeah, a strong woman is good, but like why does that mean you're gonna go out and like just sleep with a ton of
Yeah.
different dudes?
Yeah,
Like
how is that
I
strong?
never, yeah, I never understood that, and I never knew kind of like when did that start happening? Because shit, like even like watch movies from like the 80s, 90s, and like
You get beat.
that's not
Watch
how.
Goodfellas, bro.
Yeah, like
Be like
that's
beating
not
your
how.
ass.
Yeah, that's not how like the women acted, and like typically I feel like movies are a decent like kind of scope into the times. Like we were talking about Twitter being like real-time updates on what's
Yeah.
going on in the world. Like movies that are made in the 80s about the 80s are going to be a pretty decent like view into what life was actually like back then.
Yeah, they
Unless it's
want to make
like a
it. Yeah,
fantasy movie or whatever.
yeah. Like the directors aren't trying to make it anything like. Their goal is to make it as realistic as possible. Think about the shit now. Like you look at any war movie, their goal is to make it like the war, you know. And then what you do is you go to people that been in the war and say, "Is it kind of like this?" They say, "Yeah."
Yeah.
Like you go to your grandpa and like, "Grandpa, is this kind of what y'all had to go through?" It's like, "Yeah, dude, your grandma wouldn't shut the hell up." Some shit like
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, I will say, like, personally, I was like a little like pretty left growing up in Colorado, and then I got like really right as I was like in my early 20s, like
No.
listening to fucking Ben Shapiro all the time. Like you start talking like him
Yeah.
almost. And like now I'm like kind of more in the middle, like with the red pill shit, right? I used to think, bro, all chicks are hoes, like what they all teach you, like go be 30 and then have a chick. And now I'm like, bro, that's not really probably the best thing to do, man. Like, you, we can say women are different without saying they're like retarded or the way they act is all bad. Like,
Yeah, I
there's
mean,
more. There's more to it than
I'd
that.
like to
Yeah.
I'd like to talk to more women about it, but how do you feel about a man that sleeps around like that? Because like us, like as a man, I wouldn't want to meet a woman who's been around the block. Like it's just what it's like. I don't know what it's like for a woman to look at a man who's been around the block either.
I feel like for me personally, again, I've been in a relationship up until about 6 months ago since I was 17, and like I did my fair share of like I don't know. I got with my fair share of girls, we'll say, like in high school prior to
Oh,
being with
so
my
humble.
girlfriend. But like it's for me personally, after getting into a relationship, I didn't understand it before, but after being in a relationship like a long term like that, there's not really a purpose to the whole like sleeping around,
Yeah.
like racking up a huge body count as a guy. Like it honestly, I feel like it just kind of takes away like your experience with that person who you're supposed to be with long term. And at the same time, I feel like it gives you really bad habits. Like,
Bad
you know,
habit. Yeah.
bad habits in the sense of like, if you're the kind of dude who, like for me, I had a girlfriend through college or through my college years, but like, I know a lot of guys who would, basically they'd go, hook up with a new girl twice a week, like all the time. So they rack up like, a body count of like 60, 70 over like a 2, 3 year period. And then they don't know what to look for in terms of like an actual long term partner because they've just cycled through so many girls without thinking about the long term that they don't even know what to look for. They don't know what they like, they don't know what they don't like necessarily, and they're so used to just sleeping with people and sleeping with people
Yep.
and cycling through that they never actually end up settling down, or when they do settle down, it's not with the right person. And maybe the right person was one of those like 60
Yeah.
prior girls, but they weren't looking like they weren't thinking about it long term. So I guess that's kind of what I mean when I say bad habit. And then if they do get into a long term relationship, like the ultimate goal there is to get married, have kids, like that whole deal. But they're so used to cycling through girls at such like a fast rate that like they're probably going to cheat. Like there's a much higher rate of them fucking up that relationship by cheating because they're just used to being with so many girls, and that's just kind of expected.
Yeah.
Same for
That-
the
is that-
women too, bro.
yeah, no, yeah, it is. It's same both ways, totally.
Yeah, I think it's just an issue where like the more people you have sex with, the less value is placed on the sex itself. It becomes less special and more just something to do because it feels good. It's
Yeah.
like you can make a human life doing this. This isn't, I think, something we should take as lightly as we do.
No, I completely agree with you. And that's like, I think, I guess like condoms, like they're a good idea, but like they were literally invented. Like the original purpose was, so you don't get STDs out like sleep or get, somebody pregnant, get STDs while you're out sleeping with like a ton of like different people because you don't know who they are. Like the whole concept of that just seems kind of like backwards to me.
Yeah.
Like, shouldn't you like genuinely know somebody and like trust them to the point where like, yeah, like I know this person, I know they're not going to have an STD. Like this is the kind of person who I would be interested in potentially having a kid with. Like, I feel like those are some of I know I was talking about like condoms, but like, it just seems so backwards nowadays.
Yeah,
In my
People are
opinion, at
fucked
least.
up. Yeah.
because so I went through the divorce, and right after, that's what I was doing, having a good time, and like every time it was just like a devil in my ear, like, what the fuck are you doing, bro? This chick could have anything. I could end up having a kid with this chick. Like, what am I doing here? What's my problem, bro? Like get your shit together, yo. You're this close to fucking up your life. Have a kid with any one of these chicks. You're this close, bro. This fucking close. So start looking for a real woman. And that's
Exactly.
It's like if she has a herpes flare up that's starting, she don't tell you about it. Now you got fucking, you're fucked up.
No, for sure. And especially in that whole like, the college setting. Like, I've got buddies who live in cities all over California. Like most of the guys who I grew up with, like I'm still friends with them today, but they all kind of stayed in California, like around where we grew up. And like I'll go visit them every once in a while, and just the like quality of girls that you run into, it's just the bar is so low, and it's
dude.
Really, I don't know, man.
No, you're right. Like
different.
whenever I go out with my wife, I'm like, bro, like these chicks out here, it's like the way that they talk and how they act, like it's like I could never imagine like my wife speaking to me the way that some of these chicks talk.
Yeah, absolutely. Like it's kind of crazy, and that's like the same, was in a long-term relationship and then kind of getting out of that, like, going and hanging out with my buddies, whatever. It's like, holy shit, dude. Like, am I gonna be able to like find anybody who's at all like, interesting, like actually has interesting shit to talk about, or isn't like just this super low quality, like, throwing away their health, trash and all this different shit. Like, am I ever going to find somebody that's like that in a setting like this? Like, I mean, chances are almost zero. Like,
I think, there's a problem
very,
too. Like,
very low.
Yeah, like women don't know what men want in like a long-term relationship. It's like, if you asked a woman what she thinks men want for a long-term partner, it's like probably, that you're hot, I guess. It's like, well, we're not looking for that. We're trying to see if you'd be a good mother. That's what men are looking for.
Yeah, genuinely. Like, that's, man, I would say that's definitely the most, like, for me personally, and I'm sure for a lot of other guys out there, like, that's the most important thing. When you're looking for, like, a long-term relationship, it's somebody who's willing to actually, like, be in that role. Like, for me, like, I don't need to be with somebody who, goes and works. Like, that's just not, I don't need that. I don't want that. And so for me, it's like, I want this person to be able to stay home and like look after our kids and, genuinely like create the home, like create a family. And if that's not present in a girl, like that's just not somebody who I am really at all interested in, because like I was saying, those short-term relationships are just not like, there's just no purpose. It's just like, it's just kind of a waste of time, like a waste of your energy.
Can I ask you a hypothetical then? Like,
yeah,
if you were dating a chick and then like we're thinking about getting serious, but like y'all were getting into it because she didn't necessarily want the daughter to be a stay-at-home, mom. Like she wanted the kid to be like a doctor or like a lawyer or something. And that was kind of like a point of contention. Like, how would you kind of handle that?
I mean, honestly, I think about it kind of like, this might sound really like fucking like emotionally removed, but like I think about it in terms of like a sales call almost, or like in the terms of sales. So like if I can sense like one of like the keys to that is kind of like handling any objections before they even come up. That's in the sales speak. So in that case, like I would really try to like vet this person and make sure that an event like that coming up down the line is never really going to happen. And genuinely, like if I find a girl who I really like, I want to settle down and like have a family with, that woman is going to be okay with like being a stay-at-home mom and taking care of her kids. So I don't necessarily think that kind of person is going to go want their daughter to, go off and be a doctor, go off and do whatever it is. But I guess if the situation arises, like, I don't think like I'm not. There's certain guys out there who are very like super, red pill, like old school, like women shouldn't even go to school, like
Oh,
any of
she's
that
got to be a
stuff.
virgin. Yeah.
Yeah, like I think all that's like bullshit. Like I think that women, like when I'm looking for somebody who I want to be with, I want that person to be intelligent. Like I don't want them to be some, dumb as a rock girl. Like I want them to be smart so they can pass those traits onto our kids and like, genuinely have like conversations about stuff that are interesting, not just like, oh yeah, the sky's blue, like, oh yeah, look at this flower's red or whatever it is. So that's one thing I look for is like intelligence, but I feel like I'm getting off track on
No,
your
you're good. I'll bring
question.
it back. So, like, I think it's kind of an issue with men and women where, like, you got the hardcore red pill guys on this one side, and then you've got like the hardcore feminist people on this side, right? It's like the reality is your kid's probably not gonna want to be a doctor or a lawyer from the time they're 5 years old,
Yeah.
and likewise, they're not gonna be a virgin till they're fucking 23.
Right. Right.
It's like there's such like a compromise, like a middle ground, I think, that a lot of people just don't even think of. Like my wife went to college and is a nurse now, but like when we have enough money, we're gonna have kids, and she's not gonna work anymore. It's like I don't see why that's such an issue. Or if the daughter does not decide to go to school and marry a little bit of an older guy, like it's a good compromise, I think, and I think that's where people get like this all or nothing mentality, and that's where people get like kind of skittish about it. It's like submissive. Like women get turned off by the thought of being submissive to a man, right? Because because they think that submissive is just doing whatever we say. It's like that's not it. It's like they think that like we're just making every decision in our head. It's like there's a lot of collaboration that still goes on, but like the final say is mine. But it involves both of us more than the word makes them think of.
And so I see what you mean. And I guess to answer the initial question, like for me personally, I'm like very much so in the kind of realm of thinking that like if I have a daughter, like I will take care of my daughter until the point where she's able to, be in a relationship with a man who can take care of her. That's just kind of how I feel about it. But like my sons are kind of like when I have them, they're going to be kind of like on their own. Like they need to kind of make their own way in the world, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
And that's just from my own personal experience. Like my father in that sense was very like, I have, it's just me and I have a little brother too. So 2 boys. And he was always very like, you guys can do kind of whatever you want, but you actually have to do it. You can't just kind of like sit back and wait for something to come to you. You have to go out and genuinely make like a mark on the world. The world isn't going to wait for you to make a mark on it. So I feel in that sense, like if I have sons, like that's the way I'm going to raise them under that same sort of mentality.
Why is it so different? Why is it so different from son to woman? Why wouldn't you raise your woman the same way, your daughter?
Well, it's just, that's kind of a tough question. I don't know. It's a lot of like just it's a lot of how I was raised. And like, I guess I've done a lot of research into like masculine and feminine roles in terms of just the world and like how that's kind of played out through history. And like the typical masculine role is like the provider. Like, you provide for your family, I guess that's it. You provide for your family, you take care of, you protect your family. Exactly. And the woman's role is to like nurture the family, like to build the home, and to, raise kids.
They
and
create things a lot. Like you give them raw ingredients, they'll make a meal out of it.
Exactly. Yeah. They're very creative, very intuitive. As where the male, like the masculine side, is much more logical on that side of the brain. So, that's kind of that's a lot of how I was But that's a lot of the values my dad had instilled in me. That's a lot of like just things that I've researched on my own personal time. And so that's really like when I describe kind of who I'm looking for, the kind of woman that I'm looking for to be with long term, it's really just like a feminine woman. Not like, one of these like feminine masculine hybrid like feminist people. That's one of the most
Oh,
confusing things
dude.
about the feminism movement to me is that it's making women more masculine, not more feminine. And that to me just makes no sense. Like I
Oh,
feel
dude.
like
Like
you
I told
should. Sorry, go
Yeah,
ahead.
no, I'm sorry. I told my wife that like a woman saying she makes a lot of money is like a man saying that he's good at makeup. It's like,
Yeah.
okay, ew.
Yeah. No, exactly. And that's one of the most confusing aspects of the feminist movement to me is like I would think that feminism would be leaning more into the feminine aspects of women, but it's not. It's the exact opposite. It's making women more masculine and therefore making men more feminine. So we end up with just like blend of people. And then there's no like defined roles in any sort of a relationship or in society in general. And that's how you end up with all the, transgender, like all the gender confusion stuff, like all that, which is just, this shit wasn't
Yeah.
happening like 40 years ago, 30, 40 years
5
ago.
years
You
ago.
Yeah,
wipe,
no, shit, even like 10, yeah, 5, 10 years
yeah,
ago.
you wipe the slate clean of gender roles because gender roles are bad in a social, what is it, a social construct, and then you end up with you got to create new gender roles. But when most of the country doesn't follow any type of religion or anything, any type of like moral grounding, no one knows how to make up these new roles. So we're not
Exactly.
following anything, we're not getting our answers from anywhere. We're just making them up right now. Let's just see
Yeah,
if it's a
bro.
good idea.
Because we have shit so easy now. It's like if you have a country that's at war and that's starving, doesn't have power, you're not gonna have these Zers walking around complaining.
Yeah.
Like my mom's a feminist until there's something heavy to pick up or it's time to go on the roof, and then it's like you're the man. I think it's okay to recognize that men and women are different, and to say, okay, if I have a son and a daughter, we're gonna raise them differently, not better or worse. Like I was raised differently from my sister. Like I just don't see an issue with that. Like them being different, and then you can kind of work with their natural inclinations, so to speak.
Totally agree with you. And I think that sums up what I was trying to say very well is that it's not better or worse, it's just differently. And like, you can't treat, there's like biological differences, like, like hormones, all that kind of shit. Like, it literally changes how you view the world. It changes, like, for example, how your body forms when you grow up. Like, that might sound fucking dumb, but like, it literally changes how your brain's wired, how you view the world. And so you can't just treat those two completely different beings as if they're the same, as if they're going to understand things the same, as if they're going to have like the same, roles in the world. It's just not like that's just not reality.
I was telling my wife, like, yeah, you got like a very female brain, like a very feminine brain, and like I have a very masculine brain, but she didn't like know what I meant by it. So like, I'm gonna say, next time you do something real feminine like that, I'm gonna call you out on it. And like the other day, she was getting out of her car when she got home, and like she opened the door, and I did this like flop, like she hit me, and she goes, "Oh my god!" And I'm like, imagine Trevor like say, "Oh my god,"
Yeah, no, move.
or
Huh?
like we were going to bed, and she's like doing this filter on Snapchat, like, and I'm looking up a video of Danny Trejo talking about how he stabbed a guy in prison. Like I said, imagine I'm over here like messing with the filter on Snapchat, like it's something to do, you know?
Yeah, yeah,
Like
exactly.
they're different, and that's okay.
Yeah,
So
It
it's
is.
not a bad thing. And one of my biggest points is, and especially like the feminism, it's a huge patriarchy. Men are taking advantage. If that is the case, why would you not want to send the man out to go work? If if society is tailored towards men, use that to your advantage. You're halfway there. You're smart enough to recognize this. Be smart enough to use it to your advantage.
Or
I
sign
know.
up for the draft and go to war. Like put your money where your mouth is.
Yeah.
I will say though, like real quick, for like the men who are wanting to get kind of red pilled, but don't want to get like that red pilled, I think a good place to start is like learning how the female brain works, like with decision making. Like men are logical, women are emotional. Like it took me years to figure out like when a woman's complaining about something, she doesn't want a solution.
Yeah.
No.
Like men are the exact opposite. But like if I went to Trevor and I was like, "Yeah, I'm having problems with my wife," and he's like, "Yeah, Kevin, that does suck. You are right to be mad. You don't sound crazy at all." They're like, "What the fuck? That don't help me at
Dude,
all, bro."
what? Yeah. Bro,
Like for real.
I'm looking to solve my problem, not just like
Yeah, bro.
I'll be okay with it.
Yeah, I'm
Yeah,
not
Yeah.
just coming to you to talk some shit. Like I'm not here to just gossip and say some dumb shit. We are solving problems, bro. Like this
Yeah.
is an
Like,
issue. I'm struggling with it, so I came to you because I don't know how to deal with it. Like I'm not coming to you in any other way than to tell you I don't know if this is right. I don't know if I dealt with it right. Some shit like that. I'm not asking for you to say, "No, man, you're doing. Keep up the good work, Trev. I hope you're gonna be okay." Like, no, man.
well, what? Like yesterday. Imagine if I was like, "Oh yeah, that's really horrible. I'm sorry I have to put up with that."
Yeah.
Like, what? Okay, and
No,
like,
but
you know, like,
I did want
yeah.
to
What,
talk.
what do you even say to that?
You don't. You don't. Like you don't. And Kevin taught me that actually. Kevin taught me that woman didn't want a solution. And then when I brought it up to my girlfriend, she's like, "Yeah, I don't. I'm not looking for that shit. I just want to tell you about my day." Like what? All right.
like I realized that I'm like, this is such a fucking good piece of info. Like, I gotta share this, dude. Like, it's like a life hack. Like when you get in trouble at work, just saying, "Oh yeah, I fucked that up," and then it just diffuses everything.
Yeah, it is. It's
It's like,
one of those key things to learn through life.
yeah, it's like I found a cheat code. It's like, oh, I gotta share this with Trev, man, because that's a big thing, man. Like
The people need to know.
for real, like I would
They
fucking
do.
like my wife would tell me about her work and how bad it was, and I was like, why don't you move departments or find a new job or something? And she'd just get like mad, and I'm like, why are you complaining about a problem and then get upset when I try and fix it?
Yeah, I'm trying to help.
Yeah, but then
That's not
I
what they
learned.
want.
No, I learned how their brain works, and I'm like, oh, okay, this makes sense. Like it's not a bad or a good thing. Like you can't really get mad about it, but it's just different when you embrace the difference. Then I think it can really work.
Yeah.
Agreed.
Yeah, Red, you got any one key that you learned from your not little, your 6-year relationship? Got any huge key?
Shit, man. I would just honestly like it would go along the lines of what Kevin was saying. Like you hit the nail on the head with that. Like you need to understand the difference between like the masculine and feminine. And like if you really want a successful relationship, you need to understand how those dynamics work. Because I found in that relationship at least like the areas that didn't work were areas where like for example she wasn't fulfilling I guess the typical like feminine aspect of the relationship, and for me the areas that didn't work of that was like constantly trying to solve her problems, like constantly she'd come to me with an issue, I would just give solution after solution after solution,
God,
and like
fuck.
that's not at all what she wanted, that's not what she was looking for. I thought, for mine, I'm like, look, I just gave you all of these, 5 great solutions to your problem. Like, why are you upset? Why don't you just go like do this shit? And it's because she wasn't like, she's not a guy. Like she's not a man. Like, and so again, like talking to you guys, if you came to me with a problem and I gave you 5 solutions with like, here's how you go and execute on this, like 1, 2, 3, 4, like you'd be like, well, shit, like, thanks. I'm going to go out and do this like right now. Yeah. But talking to her, she'd just get frustrated. And so understanding how the feminine brain works, like Kevin was saying, and understanding how your own masculine brain works is the only way to really have like a successful relationship. That would be my kind of like, if I had one takeaway, that would be my takeaway.
Shit, I got a key on that note, dude. Is like if you're in a relationship or even not, and you're struggling to find like feminine women or bring out the femininity, whatever, in your own woman, us men have to take that first step, right? If you're a woman, you're not going to submit to a guy that's a bitch. So, like, it takes a lot of internal work to say, okay, how can I bring out my own masculinity? Be it going to the gym, being more assertive, making decisions. Like, you have to make decisions more, dudes. Like when my wife asks what I want or if I ask her what she wants for dinner, oh, nothing. I'll fucking pick a place. Like, oh, she'll either like it or she won't. It's like, I'll have to make that decision. And that's where I think she's comfortable kind of exposing or bringing out her more vulnerable feminine side because she knows that I'm strong. And like teasing too, bro. Like, man, you got to tease your women out there. Not like in a bad way, but like if she says, is this chick hotter than me or is this chick hot? You know what I tell her? I said, she's cute. I said, you're cute when you're jealous. Some shit like that.
Yeah, avoid the question.
Yeah, like avoid it, bro. Throw it right back at her, bro. Uno reverse card.
Uno reverse card. I love
Yeah,
that.
yeah, but we have to take that first step in being masculine, and then they'll kind of naturally be more feminine. So
Exactly. That's a great way to put it. And I think key to what you're saying too is like you can't go too far. Like you can't just be, a fucking like tyrant dictator like
Andrew
asshole.
Tate heads.
Yeah, no,
oh,
you have to find that middle ground of like, you genuinely like you love this person. So like you don't want to treat him like shit. You don't want to be an asshole. But like at the same time, you do need to be assertive and you need to be like the man in the relationship, as they say. You need to like wear the pants in the relationship, I guess.
yeah, it helps keeps it spicy too. Like in a long-term
Yeah.
relationship, like especially with like us, like women like dangerous-looking men. Like I think like that's where you don't take it too far. It's like you got to look like a criminal, but not necessarily be like
Is
a
that
murderer.
Jordan Peterson shit, bro? Control your monster. Like that
Yeah,
shit.
like I
Like, of course you're not gonna want me pissed off yelling at like the refrigerator because I dropped the ice under it or some shit. Like, but in some shit where there's some dude walking up to you about to talk shit with a gun in his hand, and I walk in front of you with my gun in my hand, you'd be like, "Wow, I'm glad Trevor's pretty aggressive." Like,
Yeah.
if he wasn't,
Yeah.
I'm fucked.
it's like yeah, when my dog would cross the fence and I'd fucking beat the shit out of him. If I only did that once and I was done, like my wife would probably like it a little bit somewhere in her. But like that's when I take it too far is I do it more and it's like, okay, now I'm just afraid of you.
Yeah. Exactly. Yes. You just have to strike the balance between like, being masculine and then there's going like full on like fucking dictator mode, which I think that's just too far. And that, like you said, Kevin, it leads to like, the woman, like your girlfriend, whatever it is, being like afraid of you, which is never a good combination.
Yeah, and like yeah, that's where you have to kind of know how the female mind works because they'll say like, oh, I want a nice guy who's gonna like listen to me and I'm in tune with his feelings and all this shit. But then they'll go fuck the dude that's like just got out of prison and calls him like cum slut and shit. It's like
Yeah.
yeah, that's the middle ground, bro. Looking like you do that, but not actually.
No, seriously. And that's like, I mean, it's so easy to like get to like attract, modern day females, we'll say, just by being totally like emotionally removed. Like if you're just like, I remember this like because I remember, dude, when I was in high school, like it was almost like too easy. Like I didn't even have to like do shit, but I attracted like female interest. And like I was just so removed emotionally. Like I had never even knew like what emotions were at all. And so
Yeah.
like somebody would say something to me and my reaction would be like, why the fuck, like what the fuck are you talking about? And for whatever reason, those people would always like me. And I never understood it. Like it just never made sense to me. But like I guess kind of learning more about this stuff, it makes sense down the line once you kind of
Yeah,
figure
yeah.
out
My
the
older
role
brother.
of things.
Yeah, my older brother was the cool, popular kid in school, but he wasn't like the happy, running around talking to everybody popular kid. He was like the quiet, cool, funny, just dude hanging out in school, and everybody liked it because he was just a mellow dude, not too crazy, no, not too many emotions, nothing too crazy to deal with. Just a nice, good dude that keeps his mouth shut. Nothing
Laid
crazy.
back, predictable. That's
Yeah,
good stuff.
just fucking chill, and everybody liked it. My crazy ass running around the high school, fucking with my clown shoes on, sharpied my shoes at one point. Remember that
Hell
shit?
yeah. No, like a few months ago, me and my wife were smoking on our back porch. She's like, "If you had to hit on me, how would you do it?" And I fucking go up to her, I'm like, "What's your name, girlfriend?" And like she told me her name and she asked for mine. I'm like, "That's how I know if you like me if you ask for my name." So then she's like, "Do it again." And I go, "What's your name, girlfriend?" She goes, "Floor. Why?" And then I said, "On to the next." And I fucking do this fucking walk away. And she's like, "Then I'd have to follow you." I'm like, "What the fuck?" Like
Exactly.
I said, "On to the next, right to your face," and you were like, "I gotta follow you." Like, what, dude? But you got to know how they are like that. Women hate needy men. You double text her once, bro, forget about it.
Forget
See ya.
about it.
Peace out.
Forget about it, bro.
You gotta learn that lesson sometimes the hard way, though.
Yeah, what do you mean?
The double texting shit. Like, it's
Did you
like
learn it the
almost.
hard?
Oh yeah, bro. But like you could either grow up being like that big strong man, just had someone raise you as the big strong man, or you could end up being like the dude who's self-conscious about himself and all that shit. And the way for the self-conscious dude to find out how this cool strong man is doing things is to fuck up and do
Yeah.
that double
Oh,
text and then find out, wait, this dude's probably not double texting. Like if I had,
Yeah.
like
yeah, but you didn't see though all the chicks that he did do that with. They're all like the ugly
yeah,
ones he had to get to where he's at now.
yeah,
That's a very good point. Like every guy goes through their learning periods. Like it's like inevitable as just part of life, which I think is like I think that's good. Like everybody should go through it, I guess, at some point. But yeah, you've got to go through it to kind of come out the other side and know what's right for you.
Yeah, no, that is a place though. Men take it too far with the red pill shit again. Like they'll not text a chick back for like a week, and then they're like, "Oh, it's supposed to work. I read it on Twitter." And it's like, bro, she's been with another guy since then. She don't fucking know who he
Yeah,
is.
she doesn't fucking care.
Yeah, like texting, yeah, especially texting. That shit's fucking like. If I was single, bro, I would just text to like meet up. Like
Yeah.
men have the advantage in person, but like women do, I think, over texting.
oh yeah,
It's
yeah,
like
I
Bro,
agree with that.
I feel like the only way to really do it, is just to like call and like talk on the phone. Like if someone's genuinely interested in you, like they'll answer the phone and they'll talk to you to like go make plans or whatever it is. But like I've found that that's kind of the best way to gauge interest in terms of like, and I guess even to draw more interest is just like talk on the phone. Like you don't need to be texting back and forth
Yeah,
all
bro.
day.
That's what actually fucking like just killed me in the dating game is everybody was on Snapchat. Like, yeah, you want to meet up? Yeah, here's my Snapchat. What the fuck? I don't want your Snapchat. I'm asking for your phone number.
such a fuck you too. Bro.
Like, I know
Here's
you have a phone number because you're saying you got a Snapchat. Like, don't fuck with me. You want to do Snapchat? See it. Find another dude Snapchat. Get the fuck.
No,
Bro,
and like they're looking for reasons to fucking disqualify you when they're snapping you or texting. You,
Yeah,
too.
bro.
Like say one wrong thing, bro.
Just waiting for that wrong post on the story.
that's why the key, you just can't have those apps.
Mm-hmm.
Like you can't have Snapchat. Like I guess I have an Instagram account, but like I don't use it. I don't have the app on my phone. So like not having those kind of easy access like apps, they actually have to like get to know who you are as a person. They can't just do the typical like, scroll through your Instagram account and go, "Oh yeah, this isn't like, this isn't the kind of guy I want to be with," like disqualify whatever it is.
Yeah.
Like if you kind of remove those channels, then they actually just have to get to know you as a person. And that's like the best way to, that's the best way to kind of have or start off a relationship is to actually know the person who you're getting into any sort of a relationship
It's
with.
like the most salesman answer ever. Just call her, cold call her.
Cold
Bro,
call, dude.
that's the way to do it. Yeah, the cold call, man. Actually, cold calling, that would be fucking weird because then like they're like, "Yo, who is this?" You're like, "Oh yeah, I actually got your number. I scraped it off the internet, like whatever. I
Scraped it from your
sourced it.
OnlyFans.
Yeah, scraped it from your Instagram account. Like you don't know who I am, but like I know who you are.
You want to
Like
get some dinner?
let's meet up. Yeah.
I called OnlyFans and said I was your doctor, and they gave me your phone number. How you doing?
I told him I was a lawyer, so they gave me all of your information. But yeah, you don't actually know me whatsoever. But no, once you have somebody's phone number, the best way to do it is keep texting to a minimum and just talk on the phone. Or I've found that that's the best way for me.
Yeah, and to like go to like if you want a specific type of girl, like a trad girl or something, like you got to go to places where they are.
Yeah.
Like you're not gonna find a chick that's like that on fucking Tinder or like in the bar. Go to a church or a library.
Yeah, the farmers market. That's the absolute best place to meet girls. Is the
Major
farmers
key
market.
right there, bro. Major key right there.
Like high quality, like it's almost, I think of it like in a percentages, kind of like, yeah, I guess in percentages. So like if you go out to the club or the bar or anything like that, there's like less than a 1% chance you're going to meet somebody who's genuinely high quality, someone who like wants to, I guess, get into a relationship and like start a family. Very low chance, like less than 1%. You go somewhere like, church, for example, there's probably like a 40% chance, like much, much higher chance. Not everybody that's going to be going there is going to be a good fit. A lot of them are going to be in relationships, but like, if you can maximize or like, if you're looking for a girlfriend, if you can go to places that have, that like higher percentage of like, you know, high quality, like good people, then you're going to have a way better chance of finding somebody who's genuinely a good fit, someone who like fits what you are looking for in a woman. So
girl match.
I guess that's another key.
Yeah, there you go. Girl match.
Major keys in
for
this
them soul
episode.
bra types.
Yeah.
Sure,
Bro,
sure. Go ahead,
the
bro.
farmers market, like you meet the most interesting, or I found you meet the most interesting people at the farmers market. Just, and whether that's like people who are there shopping, people who are like actual vendors at the farmers market, like you just meet the absolute like shit at the farmers market down in Southern California, like Orange County. Like there's all these like, you know, mid-20s like women who they like have like a peanut butter, like an almond butter company, and they go sell it at the farmers market, and you're just like, damn, you are literally such like a wholesome, nice person. Like
Yeah.
I would 100%, you know, date you. I like just like cool, interesting people who aren't only interested in like, you know, going out to the clubs and getting drunk and
I might
all that kind of shit.
you.
Yo, I seen a TikTok about these Amish fucking people. It's like the video goes up to this Amish chick, not bad looking, but it's like he asked her what like DTF means or something, and she said like the F was for family, like I don't even like, but she gave like a real wholesome answer, like do what your husband says, tend to the kids and family first, some shit like that. I'm like, bro, okay, like that's the kind of chick a lot of guys would go for, but you're not gonna meet them on Tinder or some shit.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're gonna meet him on the Amish farm, like churning butter and shit like that.
Yeah, slinging raw milk.
Those the types I
Yes, slinging raw milk.
No, I did try to get that at a farmer's market I went to last summer, and it was like you got to text this number and they'll send you the address. Like I'm buying fucking meth, bro.
Bro, it's like a drug deal in states where it's illegal. Like there was this dude on Twitter who got literally set, like the FBI set him up to get arrested for like trafficking raw milk across the border of Virginia.
Well, thank God.
Dude, it's like no, seriously, like they had like a police blockade waiting for him like at the like crossing the border of Virginia, and he's got like 10 gallons of raw milk. And like they arrested him. It's like
The
what
Pablo
the
Escobar
hell?
of fucking milk, bro.
Seriously, like shit's just crazy, and that's how you know that they don't want you to be healthy. Like they want you to drink the poison. Like it's all bad.
What's one of the biggest things you learned moving out to the woods on your own type deal?
Bro, I moved out here. Like the real purpose of coming out here was my father passed away again like a year ago, coming up the end of this month, and when that all happened, I was just like, and you know we were really close. Like I grew up, and my dad was actually the one who he retired and like stayed home and raised my brother and I. So we were all like super super close. Like he would you know drive me to baseball practices. Like you would I was like funny story, but like when I was young, like 11, 12, like I was super super fat. I was like 5'2", not even like 210, 215 pounds, like a
Really?
bowling ball. Oh yeah.
How tall are you now, real quick?
5'10".
Oh,
So
okay.
I'm 5'10", 165.
Hey,
So
gang.
Yeah, you're just like Trevor, yeah.
yeah, so what happened there was I was like, you know, 11, 12, like 5'2", like fucking fat as hell, like 215 pounds. My dad basically, I was like, Dad, like I want to get in shape. And he was like a college athlete, invited to like the Olympics for swimming, like very high level athlete. And now he like literally a week before he had a stroke, he placed like fourth on like an international triathlon event for like his age group. So he was an insane athlete. But yeah, when I was like 11 or 12, he was like, you know, hey, like, you know, you want to like lose weight? Like, I was like, hell yeah. Like, I don't want to be a fat kid, like going into high school, like as I'm starting to be interested in girls. And so he literally put me on like the classic, like,
Chicken and rice.
like carnivore diet. No, not even. He would literally every morning he would just make me like eggs, like 3 eggs and like some cheese or whatever, like an egg scramble. And then for dinner he'd make me a steak, and I ate that every single day for. Well, I still eat that like every day now, but like I ate that every single day for like 8 months. I dropped 60 pounds and I grew 6 inches. So going into high school, I like completely kind of changed my whole body and everything. And like that experience of like having, going through that like with my dad, like being with him all the time was really like formative for me in those years. And so, up until like literally the day he had a stroke, we talked like twice, 3 times a week. Like we were super close. So when he passed, it was a very big, like, just a huge piece of my life, just, gone like that. And it's not like he had, a long-term illness. Like he had a stroke and then he died 2 days later. So it was
Whoa.
very like,
Hold
yeah,
on. How old were you?
22.
So from when you first found out he had a stroke to when he passed, like 3 or 4 days?
Yeah, no, it was, my mom called me in the morning. I flew down to they live in Arizona, so I flew from Denver to Arizona like an hour after she called me, and then yeah, it was 2 days. So we were in the hospital for 2 days before he passed.
Oh my God. Did they say what caused the stroke?
Blood clot. So like ultimately, I
Oh,
kind
okay.
of I kind of track it back and I go, okay, this dude was like, you know, his he was 68, but his blood work and all of that stuff, like dude was running triathlons. Like he would go out and run like 8 miles a day, bike, 20 miles a day, like in insane athletic condition. And so I kind of track it back and I'm like, okay, there's probably a very high chance that that blood clot and everything was caused by him getting the vaccine, which is like pretty like for me, it's kind
I
of
might have to
fucked up.
censor that word on
Oh
YouTube.
shit! I'm sorry. I
No,
didn't
you're
even
good.
think about that.
We're
I
on
didn't even think
22,
about that.
bro.
I'm sorry, but
Yeah,
yeah, I kind of track it back, and I'm like, okay, this dude was incredibly healthy. Like his blood work was that of like 40-year-old, and he was almost 70. So like super healthy guy. There's no real reason he should have had a stroke, especially caused by a blood clot. Like it just didn't make any sense.
Oh wow. Yeah, I don't think you're allowed to attribute a blood clot to that, to be honest.
Oh damn. Well,
oh, damn,
that
my
was my
bad.
bad. I
Oh,
apologize,
my bad,
but
CDC.
But yeah, so that's kind of what happened. I heard he had a stroke. Literally flew down. 2 days later, he was like he had passed, which was like that whole deal was very for me like I've always kind of had a more positive outlook on life and on really any sort of event. Like I've had a lot of death in my life. Like all of my grandparents, two of my aunt and my uncle have all passed, and now my dad have all passed since I've been like 9 years old. So in the past like 13 years. So just a lot of like death and just going through that experience multiple times. I was kind of like prepared for this. Obviously, you can never be fully prepared, but like when it happened, my mom and my brother were like absolutely devastated. Like
Yeah.
they were kind of out of commission for like, a couple months after. So I had to kind of pick up the slack and like, call my dad's family, call all of their friends, all of
Good for
that
you,
stuff to
man.
kind of inform them. Yeah,
Oh
thank you.
man,
Like
I
it
want to tell
was,
you right now, I am extremely proud of you for doing that because not all men at your age would have done that, and that is, I want to say that's one of Jordan Peterson's rules: strive to be that man at your father's funeral. So, I strive to be that man, and I want to say, good shit, man, because that's exactly what I would like to do in that situation. So, kudos
Yeah.
to
thank you,
you.
man.
No.
I appreciate it.
Not the same at all, but like I remember for us we had to call someone's mom because he was in the mental hospital. And like that was a tough ass phone call that like I barely made it through. Like I couldn't imagine, what you went through.
Yeah, yeah,
Like
Yeah,
the
it's
dude.
unbelievable, man.
like the army has like they're called casualty notification officers. But like when a soldier dies, they go to your house, family's house, and tell them that the soldier died. And I'm
Literally,
like,
like if is it Saving Private Ryan? They like the mom is washing the dishes and you see the car coming down the road and then they show up in their nice suit and they're
yeah,
like,
knock
"Hey,
on the door, bro.
knock on your door. Hey, sorry." Literally like
Yeah,
that.
like I had been offered a chance to go to that school. I'm like, bro, I could never do that in a million.
Yeah, no way. I
Takes
Yeah,
a strength I just don't have, I guess.
it was definitely it was tough. I mean, like to be honest, but it's kind of one of those, like, you either, in situations like that, I feel like you either kind of find that, like, I guess, inner strength, like you find it within yourself, or you just don't.
Yeah.
And like it was, one of those things where, like, yeah, I wanted to be sad, I wanted to be, upset or whatever. Like, I just lost my dad, like my best friend, but like you kind of have to be there now. Me being the oldest, like the oldest son, like I now have to be there and like look after my mom and my little brother, and like they're, completely like out of commission, like they were emotional wrecks. So it's like, yeah, someone's got to step up and kind of do this shit. And it happened to be me, which, like I look back on it, I'm happy that I went through that. I'm happy that that happened at kind of a young age. But same thing, like even at my dad's memorial service, like it was very, it's interesting because this is part of why I resonated so heavily with the irrational optimist, because like everyone who like got up to speak at my dad's memorial they're all so sad. Like there was, a couple hundred people there. Like he impacted a very, very large amount of people. And so a lot of the people who got up there, like everybody was crying, everybody was sad, upset. And like I was up talking and like probably looked weird to a lot of people out there, but like I was genuinely like telling stories and like laughing about stuff that like, my dad and I had done together, like genuinely enjoying the memories that I had with him. And everybody else was, super sad. They were all crying, like all these kind of sad things, like, oh, we're really going to miss him. And I was like, shit, like I had 22 years with like the best father I could have ever asked for. Like, yeah, there's parts of me that are sad, but like I can honestly look back and go, damn, like I was the only person who had that close of contact with him for, my 22 years of my life. Like I feel nothing but like grateful at that point in time.
That's
but
great.
then after, yeah, it is.
Like it's not productive to be upset about it because you can't change it. Like you kind of just like you picked being thankful that those memories happened at all, rather than be upset that they're over.
Exactly. Because a lot of people never have the experiences that I had with my dad. Like, and they could have their dad until they're, they have their dad until they're in their 50s, 60s. But like for me, I had all those experiences by the time I was 22. So like, yeah, I felt nothing but grateful and just like not happy, obviously not happy that he was gone, but like happy that I had all those memories with him. If I didn't have the good memories with him, I'm sure it would have taken a little different, tone in my head and like in my outlook on it. But that was kind of how I walked away from the whole situation.
Yeah, I was gonna ask, man, how weird it felt to be able to do that. Because, I mean, even now when I get in, I'm not trying to compare situations at all, but when I get into like a conversation with my girlfriend, I told this to Kevin, like I feel, even years ago, my divorce. And my divorce, when I came home and went into the house, and I was like, look, I'm done with you. I was completely emotionless.
Yeah.
And it felt weird. I'd never done that before. I'm normally full of emotion. You can ask anyone I've worked with until that point.
I can vouch for that. Hell yeah.
It's completely full of emotion. And in that time, it was just gone. I'm here to do this. I'm sorry. That's it. How weird did it feel to I don't want to say emotionless, because I'm sure you were filled with emotion, but to be that outlier like that, to where it's like people are looking at you like, how did you feel like people could have looked at you and been like, how could he be so jovial about this all?
No, they like absolutely, because people asked me about it. Like I had a bunch of friends come down because my dad was very like, all of my friends growing up, like all of their dads worked all the time. They were traveling 5 days a week, whatever it was. So my dad kind of took on like almost a like father figure role in a lot of my friends' lives. So like they all came down for his memorial service, like 6, 7 of them. And like I remember talking with them, and they were more like sad or like emotional about it than I was. And they were like, dude, what, like, I remember one of them, like, known him since I was like 5 years old. Like, dude, like, what the fuck is wrong with you? Yeah. Like, are you like okay? And I'm like, yeah, honestly, like, I'm good. Like, I I won't be. Like, I'm sure, you know, a couple months pass, like, I'm sure that sadness will kind of kick in and I'll feel upset and I'll feel the emotions of it. But like right now, like I'm good. Like I can genuinely look at this, you know, my 22-year relationship with my dad and be happy about it. But a lot of people did look at me like, you know, like what the fuck is wrong with this guy? Like, how is he acting the way that he is given the circumstances?
That's
And
so shitty too, because like in my head, you would only be acting like that if you didn't process it totally.
yeah. No,
But
and I would
it's not like a bad thing, I guess.
Yeah, and I would say that was part of it too, is that it took me just longer to process kind of the like fact of him being gone from my life. But you know, in the moment, like shit, one of the absolute toughest things that I've ever experienced in my life was seeing my dad's like parents of my friends who like looked up to my dad. Like my best friend growing up, his dad and my dad were close friends. But there was a big age difference, and you know, my friend's dad looked up to my dad in a lot of ways. So like being at my dad's memorial service and having my friend's dad like come up to me like crying and like give me a hug and stuff, and like, man, I don't know how you're like able to get through this, like, you know, whatever. I have a lot of like respect for you, like as a man, like all this stuff. It's just, that was a really kind of like weird.
Yeah.
It was like a 6 hour like situation, the memorial service. But man, that was just the weirdest experience of my life. I felt like I was the only person at this event that felt the way that I felt, and everybody else was kind of in like this boat together of being like really sad and upset that they lost this great person. And I'm kind of like off on my own little boat, like, you know, yeah, like I had 22 great years, like, you know, not feeling super sad at the time. So it was it was isolating. Like it was definitely very, very isolating. But that's like, you know, I learned so much from that experience and just going through it. So I wouldn't go back and change it. Like obviously I'd still love to have my dad around, but like I don't know, it's kind of a complicated situation to talk on, because it's well, because it's very emotional, but at the same time, like the way that I kind of went about it and handled it was, I guess, less like more removed than it was like super emotional. So I guess if that gives you some sort of an idea.
No, man, that's a great answer. You're talking about when it hit you, you're like, it might hit me in a couple months down the line. Did it ever hit you? Do you remember when it did and why it did?
Yeah, so it hit me. I was, at the time I was living in Denver. I was, you know, I had a sales job. I was running I was actually investing for people in crypto. So I had two businesses going on. I was doing speaking events for, I had this deal going on with a couple like real estate brokerages where I would go in and speak to their real estate agents about crypto and like how crypto was going to change the real estate space in the next like couple years. So like I had a lot on my plate at that point in time, and I kind of just kept going with all of it. And that didn't really give me the space to really feel or understand like the loss that had just occurred in my life. And then you know, going into the fall, my girlfriend and I moved from Denver to Orlando, and everything was like, you know, significantly less. There was just a lot less of like a financial, or I felt a lot less of a financial, we'll call it like expectancy out of myself. Because we were living in Denver, like living in the city, like a nice apartment, driving a nice car. Like it was relatively expensive, and I kind of had to keep up with that to a certain level. And like I have, you know, expectations of like, okay, yeah, I have living expenses which obviously need to be covered, but then I want to be putting away X amount. So, you know, it equates to a decently high amount living in a city like Denver. And then we moved to Orlando. Everything got significantly cheaper. I realized I was like, holy shit, I'm literally going to get like 15% of my income back in taxes. Like, that's crazy. So I kind of like slowed down. Obviously, crypto went through the whole the bear Bear cycle. So that stuff all kind of slowed down. And then I was just focusing on sales and my agency. And like at that point in time, when everything slowed down, like moving into a new place was when it really hit me, because I went through all of like my dad had always seen the places that I was living. Like even in Denver, like he was always, he'd fly out like because he was doing his triathlon stuff. So like Denver, we're at, altitude. So he'd be like, oh, hell yeah. Like I'm going to come visit you. I'm going to go ride my bike, like train, whatever. So he'd come visit and see the different places that I was living and like, help me get settled and whatever. But then going to Florida, he wasn't there. Like it was just me and my girlfriend. And so when we moved into that place, I was like, well, shit. Like, I'm kind of like on my own now. Like, this is really, really weird. And then scaling back on certain like things I was doing for work kind of just revealed that like in the past, I would have taken that time I had and talked with my dad and like just spent the time interacting with him, hearing what's going on with his life.
Oh yeah.
But I could like literally, I can literally think of the moment that it happened was we moved into our place. I literally just got in from Denver on a flight to Orlando. Like got in the Uber, like to go over to my apartment, and I called my dad. Like just didn't even think about it. Like just instinct. Called my dad. It went to voicemail, and I was like, oh shit. Like I literally can't. Like that's literally never going to be able to happen again. And that was when it really hit me, about like 4 months after he had passed. And that was rough. Like that was very, very difficult. And then, kind of went through it a little bit in Florida, like had my tough time. And then like, there was just so much shit going on at the time. Like my girlfriend and I broke up. Was kind of, it was just getting to a point where like we got together so young at 17, and like I was always doing shit. Like, I started businesses, like I started in kind of the entrepreneurial space at 19. And so at this point, being 23, like I was far down like my own path of I kind of had my path figured out in life, and she didn't have her path figured out in her life. And so there was a lot of pieces of our relationship that ended up getting like, I guess, left behind, because like I was, again, on this path, like I had my business, I had multiple things that I was doing at any given time. And she didn't. She had like nothing that was going on. She started to feel like kind of useless in my life and in the relationship. And there was a lot of things that built up to this over time. Like she at one point got extremely sick. Like she couldn't keep food down. Like it was really bad, and no doctors could like tell her what was going on. Like there was no answer to the problem. But like she was, in bed for like 12 hours a day for like 8 months. And so during that time, I kind of took over like managing everything. Like I would make her, 3 meals a day. I was working, I was taking care of our dog, like taking care of the apartment, kind of keeping everything in order. And she was just like recovering from being sick. And so when she wasn't sick, once she started to feel better and recover, like I just continued to do those things. I continued to kind of make all of my own meals.
Like enabler.
In a
Like your
sense,
enabler.
yeah. Yeah, like I was trying to give her the space to like recover from whatever was going on, like her illness. But in reality, what it did was I ended up taking over the entirety of our relationship, and there ended up being no room for her to kind of like, I guess, step in and really do anything on her own, I guess. Like before she got sick, I would work and she used to make all of my meals and stuff like that. Like there was a balance to the relationship. She got sick, was out of commission. I just kind of stepped in and started doing all of that stuff. And then it never went away. and she started to feel useless, and like there was no point in being in the relationship together. So we just kind of decided it was time to like go our separate ways, and like for me to kind of go continue down my path, and for her to go figure out, I guess, something for herself. But that was what she wanted.
Now you got
It wasn't like,
job.
yeah, no, I know it's kind of funny that way. But yeah, that was what she wanted. Like she was the one who, I guess, instigated like us breaking up. But yeah, I'm honestly at this point, like it was for the better, like in the long run.
Ask, like, did she have like a drive to do something?
She had, yes, but it was based in like insecurity. Like she was raised very, like basically she was raised in a very, like, I guess we'll call it an unhealthy household. Like, without going into too much detail, like, parents had a pretty nasty divorce. Like at different points in her life, she hasn't been like speaking to either of her parents because of like how they treat her. Like it's just a whole mess of a family situation. And so she was always told growing up, like you're not going to be shit. Like you're not going to be able to do anything. You're not going to be able to, produce anything for yourself. You're not going to be able to make any money. Like you're just basically going to be like a stay-at-home like house bitch, basically. And so when she was with me and she kind of became that a little bit, not like a house bitch, but like she wasn't working. That's not how I would describe it. But like she wasn't working, she was staying at home, she was just kind of like, and then she was sick, so she was literally not doing anything. She started to feel like, holy shit, like my dad was right. And so wanting to go against that, wanting to prove her dad wrong, she wanted to go do something for herself. It's kind of a long answer.
I'm asking because like I know with my wife when she moved out here to Tennessee, like she didn't even have a driver's license. Like she was like raised by a single mom with 4 kids, including her. Like, and they would tell her, like the counselors at her high school, like you're probably not cut out for college, and like that was discouraging to her. And she didn't have like a lot of, but I had like so much belief in her because I knew she could, and like I got her one small victory. Like I got her to be able to drive. And then it's like, okay, yeah, well, what else can you do now? And then she started going to college and getting her. And it's like, I think that was in her the whole time, but she just didn't have someone that was like encouraging and that actually believed in her.
Yeah, it's the same thing
Yeah.
with me, Kev. You just like Kev saw it in me that I could be own some shit and be my own boss and shit. And he was like, "Yo, dude, what the fuck you doing?" Like I was about to go into the world of working again, 9 to 5 bullshit, and Kev's like, "Dude, fucking look at what you got in front of you." Like, hello.
You find those people, yes.
Because
Yeah.
all growing up, like, it wasn't like you couldn't do it, but it wasn't you should do it.
Yeah.
So, and that's a huge difference. Like, saying I can do it and saying I should do it are completely different. And if I was told, like my dad told me at 13, why don't you figure out a way to make money? If he would have said, like, you should, I think he probably did, but you should be making money. You could be, and you should be. I know you can. Start making some money online, man. Like, I know you could do this shit. And that just goes such a long way because a lot of people don't hear it growing up. Sad.
Yeah.
But
Well, like that's what we were texting about yesterday, Trev. Like you had that one guy, the dude that made Irrational Optimist, and like you know that he does it better than you do, and you don't like you're okay with that, right?
yeah, like Jake, I could tell. Like, I love what Jake stands for. I wish his Discord was mine. It's not, but I know that Jake is standing for, like, literally like a fucking political leader. I know he's standing for what I stand for. I'm going to be a part of his community, and we could grow together. Like, I don't have to go and make my own community anymore. Jake did that part for me. Thank you, Jake. Like, no bullshit. Thank you. Yeah. Like, I didn't have to do that. And notice, like, yesterday I got off our podcast, and I was like, shit, man. Like, it sucks that I didn't make the Discord, but at least someone did. Like, I don't have to be the one making it. It's probably a lot on this dude's plate. Like,
yeah.
I should be lucky that I was part of it, you know? Like, I'm
And
glad. Go ahead, Kev.
that's how I feel with you though. Like I know that if anyone can make something work, it's you. Like if you believe in something, you're gonna find a way to make it work. And even if it doesn't, it won't be from a lack of trying. So in my head, I'm okay with recognizing that you're better at doing a lot of shit than me, and that together, if I helped you, we could go way higher than that.
Yeah, dude.
It's like,
It was like shoot, when we got our first client, my girlfriend asked like, how much does Kevin get? Like, what are you talking about? How much Kevin get? 50-50. We Yeah, but how much
Yeah.
did he help you with? Like, how much work did he do on the website? I said, Marissa, I wouldn't have made this website, period, ever, if he wasn't there with me when I needed him the most. Like, yeah, sure, I don't need someone to like hold my hand making a website. But I know when I come to Kevin later when the website's made, Kevin's going to give me honest feedback. Kevin's going to give me exactly what I need to keep going. Kevin knows that I could do this with his help. Kevin knows his role, I know my role. There's nothing wrong with this. Like, yeah, I'm doing a little more work, but is it really more work if Kevin's over there thinking about like the role situation? I don't think about that. I'm thinking about websites. Like I got to make this website. Kevin can think about all the other shit. Come to me and talk to me about it. Like, it saves me a lot of time. I wouldn't realize a lot of this life shit that I've learned. I wouldn't realize without Kevin, and that's just the way life works. To give and take.
Yeah, bro.
yes.
Sorry, go ahead, Kevin.
That's all you, bro. Send it.
No, like I completely agree with that. And like, especially like business, we touched on it earlier with relationships, is like, you have to kind of understand like where your strengths and your weaknesses are in order to like work well with somebody else and to find a person that you work well with. But in terms of business, like I have, with my current agency, like I have a business partner, and I basically head up like the sales and, like sales onboarding, kind of like the client, like face to face with the clients. And he's very like back end, like he runs ads for us. He kind of comes up with like, basically the offer that I'm running right now is Facebook ads. And basically we build out like a CRM, load the leads that we get into the
Are
CRM,
you
and then,
using Go High Level?
yeah.
All right, we're gonna have to talk a little more
Ab-
about that off the
Yeah,
screen.
yeah.
We ain't trying to give out all the keys. That's what we're doing. That's what School of Solace is bringing people
Oh, that's
like the people in IO, but tailored more towards Go High Level. And we're trying to get that to like we went to a career fair, and that's like it's gonna be a niche Discord. Like the two.
that's awesome.
Yeah,
Dude.
bro. We're gonna have to talk about this.
We'll
guys.
chop it up after.
Yeah.
That sounds good. But yeah, so basically like he kind of came like at first I was I've ran multiple agencies. Like this will be my second, or this is my second one. The first one that I ran was like I did like Facebook ads for auto mechanic shops in Southern California. And like it ended up going pretty well. Like, it worked out. But like I just absolutely hated running Facebook ads. Like I despised it. But that was like literally my job. So I found a business partner. I was like, dude, like let's do this. I know sales. Like I've worked with sold for B2B like e-commerce agencies and stuff like that. So I kind of know what the sales process is supposed to look like. I know how to get clients. I know how to keep clients, like, and, speak with them. And this guy was like, that's good because, I'm shy. Like I fucking hate sales. I don't like talking to clients. I don't like any of that, but I absolutely kill it when it comes to running ads, building out these CRMs, and, basically the whole back end of the business. So we partnered up, 50-50 split. Realistically, I'm spending like, call it like I'm taking like 5 calls per day. So like a good amount of work, like 5 hours a day of calls. He does Facebook ads for like an hour and a half. Like like he spends like a fraction of the time that I do, but the value that he brings to the business is where are my weak points, and the value that I bring to him are his weak points.
Yeah, bro.
So
and if you
like
can get it done in an hour and a half, why the fuck wouldn't you?
exactly. Yeah, exactly. That's like perfect. And he's like, dude, he's like a fucking wizard. Like I ran Facebook ads for
What's
like
his name, bro? Name drop him real quick.
Yeah.
his name's Cameron.
Link in the description.
Yeah, I can connect you guys with him. He's not an IO or anything, or on I found him I actually met him at college. And he was a cool dude then, and like just, shy. Like not not super outgoing or anything, but dude was like a fucking genius. And so I always kind of kept in touch with him. And then, he'd ask me about my business stuff, whatever. He actually, I guess I kind of like poached him from a company because he was working for, he was basically in the marketing department for a relatively big restaurant company that's actually based in Orlando. Called actually, I'm not going to say their name. That wouldn't be good. But so he was working for them. I basically told him like, hey dude, like, come do this. Like, we will split the profits 50-50. Like, you're way too good at this shit to be working for a company like that pay you pennies on the dollar for what you're actually worth.
Yeah,
so he's like, all right, cool. Yeah, so he's like, all right, cool. Like, I'll come work with you. Like, see how it is. I'm not gonna like quit my job yet or anything, but now he's full-time working with me, which is awesome. So yeah, we're 50-50 on the business, which is like, it's great.
Yeah. And you gotta like do right with people, or like do right by people if they are your friend in business. Like when Trevor pays for our shit and like we were both hurting last month, like I'm gonna fucking offer him like last month's and this month's. Like that would be so shitty. Like if I didn't bring it up, nothing probably would have happened.
Yeah.
But like you have to bring those types of shit up.
Yeah. Like I don't really give a shit, bro. I mean, I covered it. My bank account, that shit got taken out, so it don't matter to me. That shit's already taken out, bro.
Yeah, it's a principle thing. Yeah.
Yeah, I totally agree with that, and I'm much more about like, I would rather like I would sacrifice, I guess, money for relationships like any day of the week, like friendship, relationships, business partnerships, whatever it is. Like I'd take the money loss up front in order to kind of have that good long-term relationship. So totally agree with that.
Yeah, bro, that's the realtor we ran into. Like, we're not getting paid by him to do what we're doing, but I mean, this dude's network in Florida, his realtor network in Florida, why would I not work with him for free? Show what I got.
Yeah, exactly.
This dude knows half of Florida. Like it would be stupid of me to think that my money is more worth it than him. Like it just
Yeah. And if you can provide the value to somebody like that, like I was talking about those how I was doing basically like I had a couple of deals with real estate brokerages, kind of like California, Colorado, to speak about crypto. Like I never would have gotten that opportunity had I not done free work for a realtor within one of those brokerages.
Right.
And then they go like, holy shit, like this kid's willing to just help me out. Like that's awesome. Like I'm going to connect you with all these other people who are going to pay you like a solid amount of money to just simply speak about stuff you already know. And I'm like, shit, like glad I did that for free up front. Like glad I did the like 10 hours for free. Like I just got, whatever it is. Like, yeah. So I'm totally with you guys on that. Like relationships are above money. And so like, if you can sacrifice money to have those long-term relationships, it's totally worth it.
Shit, right? Yeah, where are we at on time, Trev? I've been noticing with the IO guys, we go a lot longer now.
Because we could talk. Like we got people that think like us, act like us, talk like us. Like it's easier to sit down and talk. But we're at 1:45 almost. So cool with that. I'm trying to think of one real quick question.
I got a final question that run by you, bro.
Let's hear it.
For the people that may have a relative that is close to dying, maybe they're in hospice or sick real bad, what's like one thing you would wish you had known about that whole grieving?
Wish that, like I could, there's a couple different answers I could give here. The classic answer that like everybody tells you who's kind of been through it is like everybody goes through their own grieving process. Like it's different for everybody, which I found to be true. Like it's been different amongst me, myself, my brother and my mom, and everybody who knew my dad. It's different for everybody. But I would say the biggest key of going through that grieving process is like, no matter what the memories are, you have to do your absolute best to pick out the good memories and really have those stick with you. Like if you go through, loss is tough. Like it's going to be hard, whether it's your dog, whether it's, some dude you knew 20 years ago, whether it's, your mom or your dad. Like it's rough no matter what, and everyone goes through their emotions. But if you can keep in the back of your mind those positive emotions that you had, those positive experiences that you had with this person, it makes the whole process, and it makes I guess the sad parts, like the down parts of the grieving process, so much easier. Because even when you're sad, even when you feel those negative emotions, you can always kind of call on those positive memories. Like for me, with my dad, it was that we would go, like I played baseball growing up. And so we would go to the baseball field like every weekend for like, 4 or 5 hours, and he'd just throw me balls and I'd just hit balls and, whatever. He'd pitch to me and I'd hit, and we would just hang out. And it was like literally the best time of my life. And so I just kind of keep that memory always in the back of my head, even if I feel sad, even if I feel, pissed off that he's gone. And it just makes it a lot easier to kind of get through those negative times.
Trev, you know what phrase I'm thinking of?
Send it.
They got a phrase in the army, and people make fun of it, but it applies to a lot of shit. It's called hunt the good stuff. It's like, yeah, you could be upset, but if you find that good shit and hunt it out, dude, that's what's going to stick with you and help you get through.
Yep.
Totally. That's a perfect way to put it.
Always
So,
some
Not the good stuff, man.
yeah, no, man, that's a great way to put it. And I would say that's the key to kind of getting through the tough times of losing somebody that you love. Because there's gonna be tough times. Like, it doesn't matter, how tough of a dude you are. Like, it does not fucking matter. There's gonna be tough times. So again, yeah, hug the good stuff. Keep it in the back of your mind. Makes it all just much easier to get through.
Hell yeah, bro.
Hell, that's
With
dope
that,
answer,
y'all,
man.
thank you for tuning in. Red Man, like I said, I'm very proud, and you give me a lot of optimism for the future, man. It's like an aura through the computer screen that I get, man. It's really nice to see more people out there thrive and succeeding, and even facing adversity like that and getting through it, still becoming the man you are. That's especially in today's day and age, man. That's not too common. So I pat you on the back, man. Thank you for sharing. Thank you for being open about it, man. Like I said with Riley, like I said every episode, we can't do the episodes unless we have people willing to be open about it with us. So with someone like you, it's a lot easier to talk about, a lot easier to just, it takes the weight off my shoulders, and like I couldn't be more appreciative for having you on. So thank you.
Awesome.
Kev,
Well,
you got anything?
Yeah, no, just you have like this remarkable level of maturity and perspective. And I think more people could benefit from hearing your story. Because like Trevor said, there's a lot to be upset about. But like listening to you, it's like a white pill. It's like there, you know what I'm saying? Like there are people like you out there, like that's what gives me hope. Because going from California especially, like you can make it out there, dude. Like you have.
Bro, made it out
That
the
gives
mud.
that gives me
made it out.
for real, bro. That gives me hope though. So no, thanks for coming on, dude. Really appreciate it. No bullshit.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you guys. I really appreciate the kind words, and I appreciate the time. Yeah, it's been awesome, and I'm looking forward to kind of seeing what you guys are doing moving forward. And we'll definitely have to chat about the go high level stuff.
Yeah.
So we'll get something in the works. But it was great. It was great being on. Thank you guys. Yeah, I really appreciate it.
All right, we'll catch y'all next time. Episode 32 done, baby.